to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad. And in this episode, we'll be exploring number 49 from AFI's 100 Years, 100 Passions, the 100 Greatest Love Stories of All Time.
All right, and number 49 is The Postman Always Rings Twice. This was released in 1946, directed by Tay Garnett, starring Lana Turner and John Garfield.
The synopsis for this film noir is as follows. Amiable drifter Frank Chambers, played by John Garfield, hitches a ride with a man he later learns is DA Kyle Sackett. He drops Frank off at Twin Oaks, a rural diner service station on the highway outside LA. Frank begins working there for stodgy owner Nick Smith and his beautiful, much younger wife Cora, played by Lana Turner. Cora is tired of her situation, married to a man she doesn't love and working at a diner she wishes to own outright. Soon she and Frank begin an affair. During an attempt to run away together, Cora concludes if she divorces Nick, she'll get nothing, and she and Frank will be stuck. They return to Twin Oaks in time to retrieve the goodbye note she left for Nick. Cora convinces Frank to murder Nick so they get the diner. The plan is for her to strike Frank in the head and make it look like he hit it on the tub. Things go awry when a police officer stops by and a cat causes a power outage. Cora does strike Nick, but the blow isn't fatal. The couple are thrilled to learn that Nick will be all right and remembers nothing of the incident. They spend a wonderful week together running the business and enjoying their relationship. When Nick is slated to come home, Frank realizes he has no future with Cora and moves on. Soon he starts hanging out where Twin Oaks buys their produce, hoping to see her. He runs into Nick, who convinces him to return. Cora behaves coolly towards Frank. During dinner, Frank announces he's selling Twin Oaks to move to northern Canada to take care of his infirm sister. That night, desperate, Cora goes to the kitchen. Frank finds her with a knife she says she is going to use on herself. Frank agrees to kill Nick. The next day, the three plan to drive to Santa Barbara to finalize the sale of Twin Oaks. Frank and Cora intend to stage a drunk driving accident. Sackett stops by to air his tires and overhears a fake argument by Frank and Cora about Nick being too drunk to drive. On a deserted stretch of road, Frank kills Nick with a blow to the head and sends the car off a cliff. Frank is caught in the car and also injured. Sackett, who had been falling behind, arrives to find Cora crying for help. He files murder charges against Cora only, hoping to divide the couple. A clever maneuver by her lawyer prevents her full confession from getting to prosecution. Cora secures a plea deal for manslaughter and receives probation. Publicity from the murder draws customers to Twin Oaks, but things are tense between Frank and Cora. When Cora takes leave to care for her sick mother, Frank has a brief fling with another woman. An investigator from Cora's attorney attempts blackmail with her confession, but Frank beats him and an accomplice and takes the confession from them. Cora tells Frank she knows about his affair. They argue but reconcile, and she reveals she's pregnant. She speculates the new life may balance out the one they took. They celebrate with a swim. On the way back, Frank crashes and Cora is killed. Frank is tried and convicted of her death. While on death row, he is visited by a priest and DA Sackett, who confronts him with evidence of his involvement in Nick's murder, and reasons if he resists his legal fate with Cora's death, he'll only end up back where he is for Nick's murder. Frank accepts that reasoning, noting fate has made sure both he and Cora pay for killing Nick.
This is sick and twisted.
It is. It's a good movie, though.
It's very good. It's very, very good. It's, the love story, too, is very sick and twisted. Like, it's really...
But it is a love story.
It is a love story, though it's dark and it's toxic.
Yeah.
It's still a love story.
It's dark and it's toxic. And it starts out, it's purely about passion. You've got this beautiful young woman who's married to this older drunk, basically. And, she's not living the life that she probably thought she was when she ended up with him. This new, younger man who she finds attractive and is attracted to her, basically comes into her life, and he's basically living with them. I mean, they all live at, the hotel diner basically. It's like a hotel diner kind of situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, they start this affair, which starts out as, you know, it's pure passion, but then they start to develop feelings for each other. And then
they try to run away.
They try to run away, but then they kind of figure out, well, this isn't going to work.
And that's not the kind of life she wants to live either.
She basically trading the life she has for a life with.
She really wants to run the diner.
Yeah,
she wants it for herself.
She wants it for herself because she basically runs the place now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nick doesn't do a ton. Mm-hmm. I mean, he works there and he does things, but she's kind of the brains behind the operation for the most part, and she doesn't feel that she gets recognized for it in a lot of ways. Even when he's gonna sell it, she's like, I don't get a say in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just like, no.
He's like, no, why?
No, we're going to take care of my sister, which basically means she's going to be taking care of his sister, which, again...
And that's going to be the rest of her life. So
and that's going to be the rest of her life, so, you kind of see where she's kind of going with her thought process behind the murder, and Frank he falls in love with her and is, how do I have her when I probably shouldn't, and there's just...
I didn't really see a lot of this stuff coming either.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I was like, oh wow, like when they're trying to stage his death and it ends up going off the cliff and for real, and it was just intense, and speaking of chemistry, we talked about, Gwyneth Paltrow and what's his name? Joseph Fiennes having chemistry, but not a ton. These two, my goodness, like tons and tons of chemistry.
Yeah, there is a 1981 remake of this movie that stars Jack Nicholson in the Frank role and Jessica Lange in the Cora role. They have a ton of chemistry. Okay. That movie is not nearly as good.
Okay.
The ending especially doesn't work nearly as well. It's interesting. I think we should probably watch it. I think you'd be interested to see the differences. Okay. So I think we should check it out.
You know what I kind of find interesting? Watching all these older movies, I feel like in some aspect back in the day, we weren't afraid to show a guy on death row, like the consequence of his actions, right? Yeah. And end a movie that way.
There's a lot. We've watched probably three or four movies on this list. That's literally the end scene is basically dead man walking essentially.
Yeah, and I feel like movies nowadays are kind of not. They won't go there.
I think part of it is because there aren't as many people sent to their death. There are a lot fewer states now that have the death penalty.
Well, and just not going the way they wanted, right? Like dealing with the consequence of their actions. Yeah. A lot of times, we don't see that anymore. Yeah, they'll get off, or they'll walk, or they'll disappear, or whatever.
Did do that? Thinking about it, and it's kind of it's a neo-noir. It's one of these kinds of films. Was a movie that we visited earlier on the list, which is Body Heat. Mm-hmm. We totally see that. Yeah. He is in jail.
But she doesn't.
No. But that's part of the whole thing, right? Right. She's the femme fatale, so
correct.
She doesn't,
Yeah.
This is I apparently both these movies were nominated to be on the list, so both this movie and the 81 remake were both on the list to be nominated for. I think this is the better choice of the two. I do think it would be interesting to watch the other one. I think we should check it out.
It's interesting too because after they kind of double cross each other, they're so mean to each other. She is so mean to him, and
it makes sense because it's out of hurt. She's so hurt that he left her there. So when he leaves, he does it when he's running the place by himself because she has gone to pick up Nick. And is it the DA or someone comes by and mentions that he saw her with Nick, and he's just it just kind of dawns on him, you know what, I can't have her.
Yeah.
Whatever I do, I can't have her. And he just leaves. He doesn't leave a note. He doesn't say goodbye to her.
He's like,
so
I can't do this.
So when he comes, and then, he regrets it because he's going out there kind of like hoping to see her at the produce stand. And when, Nick finds him and convinces him to come back and she sees him, she's just like, she's so jilted.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can cut the tension with a knife between them.
Yeah.
And then, she gets this news. So like her whole life is spiraling out of control. Like there's this man that she's in love with who has abandoned her.
Yeah.
She's married to this guy that she doesn't love, who's now going to sell this business that she wants to run. And then she's basically going to be a caretaker for his sister. And she's just like...
She goes off the deep end.
She goes off the deep end.
Yeah, and...
Which you kind of understand it a little bit.
Do you think she didn't know about the insurance policy?
I don't know. I think they play it open-ended so you can think it either way.
Yeah.
But to me, like, if she's really that involved in the... I have two trains of thoughts with it. One is... She's so involved in the business, how could she not know? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, she's so involved with the business, but then doesn't realize he's selling it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
It's which, you could go either way with this.
And do you think that when he comes back, after Nick dies, and he comes back, I feel like she was going to kill him, but then she ended up dying.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Like if she doesn't die in the car wreck, she's gonna.
Like I thought she was gonna kill him on the beach.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh, okay, I guess not.
But if she was gonna do that, why would she tell him she's having his baby?
Is she having his baby?
Is it Nick's? You think she's sleeping with Nick?
Or she made the whole thing up?
Okay.
I mean...
Jerry's going to dark places.
Well, it turns real dark.
I mean,
I wouldn't put it past her to do that.
I guess, but, I mean, if she's going to kill him at the beach, why not kill him at the beach?
Yeah, so I might be wrong. Maybe she wasn't going to kill him.
It's an interesting interpretation. It didn't occur to me at all. It occurred to me that they were going to work this out, and, we're finally free of it, and we can figure this out, and then... he loses control of the car and crashes and she dies. And then, you get the whole, the postman always comes twice explanation, which that's a big thing. Like in the sequel or the remake, they don't explain that line at all. Like I'm assuming it's really important to the narrative in the book that's based on. I don't think it's...
Okay, I feel dumb because I don't remember.
It's right. It's basically right at the end. Basically, like anytime there's like important news, the postman always rings twice kind of situation. It's a dumb like analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Personally,
that's a cool title.
Personally, like even though the book's named that, I think this movie would have been better served just being called something else. Who knows what? But then you don't have to even like that because that doesn't really play into what's happening in them.
Yeah.
But anyway.
True.
It's a good movie. It's a good watch. It's not the greatest love story, but it does, it shows
it's a different type of love story.
It's a different type of love story. I gave it a 55. Jerry gave it a 53. So the list score is 54.
Yeah. Okay. So let us know what you think about this movie. If you've watched the remake, let us know. Please drop a note in the comments. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to contact us directly, please contact us at ratingthelist@gmail.com. But for now, that's it. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.